Hey there, Brian here. I just loaded the boat, getting ready for an early February float trip, and thought I'd take a couple minutes to talk about staying comfortable out on the water this time of year. Whether you're coming out on a float trip or wade fishing, there's a handful of things you can do to prepare yourself to stay comfortable and maximize your time out there and hopefully catching more fish. First and foremost, layers, multiple layers, starting with base layers. I usually run about 3 pairs of thermals, starting with the thinnest to the medium weight and then heavyweight. And on the really cold days, I have a pair of fleece pants and top that I'll put on as well. But you definitely want to start with the lightest on the bottom. The lighter, thinner layers are going to remove moisture from your skin quicker and help keep you regulated and more comfortable. The next thing is socks. You know, I run a thick pair of Smart Wool winter socks, knee-high socks. You tuck your thermals in them. They stay up. They stay comfortable. Nothing gets bunched up. And, you know, bring a second pair. If you're navigating a lot or your feet get a little sweaty at some point, you know, and then you're not moving so much, and you find they start getting really cold, just change them out. It's going to be better than foot warmers. Foot warmers can get pretty uncomfortable. They might bunch up on you. And I find that it's kind of like 50-50 with those. You're better off just take a couple minutes, gear down, change your socks, put your stuff back on, and get back after it. And you'll stay pretty comfortable. On top of the thermals, you know, and the layers, hoodies. I usually got a couple hoodies on. Sun hoodies are a great layer. Sometimes I have a couple of them on. And then a cotton type hoodie over the top. I like the hoodies, especially because of the neck protection. You know, if there's a slight breeze at all, wind is always a game changer. But it keeps your neck protected. And, you know, if you start getting real cold, throw a hoodie on or two, and let yourself heat back up. Typically works pretty good in my experience. And hats, you know, there's a lot of different hats you can get. As you see here, this is what I use most of the time, a ball cap with a beanie over it. Seems to be plenty enough. If it warms up, you can take the beanie off. And you still have the, you know, solar protection with the visor. Also, more importantly, or just as important, I should say, is any precipitation that might come in through the day. If it rains, drizzles at all, starts to snow. It keeps the stuff off your glasses and keeps your vision from being impaired. So pretty helpful. On top of that, you know, as far as shells go and hour layers, obviously if you're wade fishing, you got your waders on and your wading boots. But if you're coming out for a float trip, you know, and floating, waders aren't also necessary. Sometimes your feet end up getting colder being your neoprene booties are packed in your wading boot, not much room to move in there. If you want to wear your waders for a shell and, you know, water protection in case you get splashed or end up maybe, you know, having to get in the water for some reason, navigating in and out. If you've got a good pair of rubber boots that have a little more room than your wading boots so your feet aren't so compressed, I definitely recommend those. In doing so, another thing you can do in the boat is just pop your wading boots off and give your feet room to move inside the neoprene booties. And being most of them are dark in color, especially if the sun's out at all, they actually heat up pretty good and you will stay warmer. As far as an upper shell goes, a lot of times, especially if it's going to be windy at all, instead of a big bulky jacket, you know, I run with the multiple layers as I spoke of and a rain jacket. A lot of rain jackets, again, kind of like the booties on the waders, are dark. I definitely recommend a darker color. If not black, you know, any sun that's out at all really absorbs that heat, will help you warm up. But having that windbreaker, you know, that's also waterproof is a big deal. And, you know, they seem to keep me the most comfortable through the day without adding, like I said, too much bulk or too much extra heat. If you're going to be out wade fishing a lot and you know you're going to be moving around and active, and all the layers and the hoodies are going to be too much, you know, not allow the heat to escape, I definitely recommend a vest or zip up hoodies so you can exhaust some of that built up heat and moisture that might come from navigating a lot. And again, you know, bring some extra layers, a dry bag, whether you're in the boat or keep it in your vehicle. That can really be a big game changer, just having a dry pair of layers to swap out and put on. Hand warmers are nice. You know, they're good to keep in your pockets. if you have taken a little break, especially in the boat, floating in between runs, typically this time of year, that's where the fish are held up. So you got a little break in between each spot. Hand warmers, the big ones, the adhesive ones, if it's areas on you that, typically get cold. Sometimes, under the arm, on the thighs, maybe even, your legs can get pretty cold by not moving and just sitting there. But as far as gloves and your hands go, I don't use gloves a lot. If I do, the one thing I do recommend the most is a tight fitting pair of latex gloves, the thicker ones, so they don't tear up on you and get holes in them. But if you get a pair of latex gloves that actually fit you well, and a pair of fingerless gloves or grommets, that have the mitten that flop over, I would say that is your best bet. That's my go-to, especially if I'm wade fishing. You might say, I can't fish with gloves on, or I can't do the latex gloves. I got to take them on and off. If you get a pair that fit tight, in the thicker ones, it might take you a minute to get used to it, but you can actually tie knots with those even, and do any rigging you need to do without taking them off, and they will definitely keep you warmer through the day, especially if your fingers end up in the water at all, releasing fish, or removing a hook out of their mouth while keeping them in the net even. And that can be a real big game changer. For myself personally, it has been, when my hands are in and out of the water a lot. My fingers tend to crack this time of year, and they crack a lot, and it's quite painful. And I've found wearing those, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen at all. My hands stay pretty soft, supple. At the end of the day, I take them off, and I'm good to go. And they do keep you warmer as well. So, yeah, that's a handful of things I do. Again, multiple layers, good shell, good socks. Not something that's going to keep your feet too compressed. Give your toes room to move and stay a little warmer. And yeah, good luck. Get out there.